Hi, welcome to another amazing episode of The Climb. I'm your host, Nonso Chekumi, and here on The Climb, we talk about the human condition, the hustles, the struggle, the wins, and everything in between. Last week, we had two amazing guests, the founder and co-founder of Flexo Fashion. They gave us an expose into the footwear industry. It was actually an amazing time. Today, we are going to have another guest who's going to tell us about furnitures. He's the furniture chef, Mr. Emeka Chris. Let's dive right into it. Welcome, sir. We are happy to have you here on The Climb.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So let's dive right into it.
Okay.
Who is Emeka Chris?
Emeka Chris is a furniture maker, an entrepreneur, and by the grace of God, a life-changing influencer, as the case may be, because we are meant to, as we grow, we influence others who are coming up. So it's been part of my mission and my vision not to just grow as a person and not take the younger generation along with me. Mm-hmm. So basically, I am just me, Emeka Chris Agwaife. Okay. And I am the furniture chef. Yeah.
We want to know, how did all this start? Because most times as people, we all have dreams. We all have dreams, aspirations, things we want to achieve, but starting is always an issue. So one of the idea of this show is to, talk to people, know what gave them the drive or inspiration to, start. So how did you come to become the furniture chef?
It's a long journey. If I have to go back memory lane. Mm-hmm. But let me try to shorten it a little bit. So I think my journey started in 2014, right? I studied business education. Mm-hmm. A lot of persons don't know that about me. They think maybe I studied some sort of engineering or technical course. But I studied business education and mastered in a management option, right, in business management. But my real journey into furniture making started in 2014, mm-hmm. right? I have always had an interest and a knack for interiors, right, for furniture making, which was kind of sown as a seed in me back in the 90s when we're renovating. My dad called for changing of our doors, and a relative of ours who is into furniture making came and made doors for us. He made the doors right there in our house, in our premises. Mm-hmm. So that was one of those long holiday periods. So I was always with them throughout the whole process. And I loved the sandpapering, the veneering, the application of the gums, the attention paid into details, right? That made the doors. They were carved doors right in my presence. So I even partook in, bringing out some of those curves and making sure they were smooth. So the guy was putting me through. He was telling me, you need to use the back of your finger to feel for hairs. If you felt a hair, you need to continue with the sandpaper. And showed me all types of sandpapers, the different grades and levels, the roughs, the smooth, even, so that really sowed a seed in me, mm-hmm. And whenever I was in a premise, in an environment, I look at finishes, furniture finishes. I was very much interested in them and the arrangements and all that. So in 2014, I got to volunteer in a group of designers, interior designers in an establishment for free. So I volunteered to be part of the team, and for years, it wasn't like I knew that was what I wanted to do at the time. Mind you, before then, I had dabbled into several businesses, tried to get my hands to make ends meet. At some point, I was into delivering sand, but still within the construction industry. So that period when I volunteered in that design and interior team just really exposed or brought out the creativity in me, right? I found myself handling certain craft designs that people will wonder, that would marvel at, where did you learn this from? Sometimes I just go on YouTube, I just see a craft design and all the craft work going on, and I look at it and I try it out. I just go get materials and I, get my hands on them and bring them out. And it really spurred me into being more interested, and I found myself loving what I was doing at the time without complaining, to the extent when we were shared in teams, in smaller groups, work groups.
During the volunteering.
During the volunteering process, when we were shared into smaller groups, the leader of our team always, the leader of the department of that group always referred to me as Team Chris. Like, I took up projects solo by myself. Sometimes I find myself still working till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., thereabout, like making sure that we get this thing done because of, we're working behind time. So it really, at some point, some persons who were observing us, a group of persons who were observing us one day, we were working, and it was in a church environment, right? We were working till very late. The church had a program coming up, their annual convention. And some lady walked up to me and was like, "Is this what you do?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "Is this what you do for a living? Are you a craftsman or something?" I was like, "Not really. Not really." And she was like, "Wow, and you just do this as a hobby?" I'm like, "Well, yes, at the moment." At that point in time, it had never occurred to me that this was like in 2015. It had never occurred to me that I could use it as, I could monetize my craft at the point in time. So I was doing it. She was like, "You're so good at what you are doing, and this is so beautiful." I was like, "Thank you." So looking back, I was telling somebody the other day when I was having the same conversation. Yeah. I was like, if I been know that time, I for don't sell myself, But I saw that period as my building period, like self development period, because the leader of our group saw that part of me, and she studied interior design in Manchester, and took me under her wings. She took Ruth Owode. I always thank God for having me in contact with that lady. And she kind of took me under her wings, and she had a furniture workshop in her house at the backyard, and we went there. I saw things. I saw what her workers were doing and all that, and I just kind of loved what we were doing. But then in same 2015, an opportunity was presented to me to go to the United States of America. At first, everybody was like, just japa. I was like, why? You know? So a lot of persons would be like, this America where everybody they find to wrong go. Now you no one stay. I was like, well, let's see what America has to offer, right? I went, it was with a visiting visa. And I was like, okay, let me go and learn. I wanted to learn, right? Had a multiple entry visiting visa. So getting there, the church my cousins attended, I met some other group of persons, you know, who were entrepreneurs and all that. And they kind of linked me up, you know, registered me in a couple of boot camps, you know, entrepreneurship cohort programs and all that while I was there during that period. So in all, it was a 2 years multiple entry visa, and I always went. So kind of, it was just with favor, go, come back, go, come back. So whenever I was back, I went right straight back into the entrepreneurship programs that I had been registered in. So that already built my business mindset, the entrepreneurship mindset. You know, then I was thinking of some other business entirely. I wouldn't lie to you. I was thinking of some other business entirely. But the moment my visa expired, I told myself I wasn't going to renew the visa because the temptation of wanting to go back, because I was always, when I go, I work. I have a couple of relatives who had businesses who I could work. So coming back, I'll just renew my rent in Nigeria, then I go back again, you know. But I was like, no, this is not how I want to go. Your life, you know. I decided not to renew my visa, and it became a problem. Some of my family members had an issue with it. You know, at some point I was told that thing where you say you won't go do for Nigeria, most years you go they succeed. You know, at some point it wasn't funny at the time. In 2017 into 18, I got myself registered into a business school in Port Harcourt. There at the time I lived in Port Harcourt. I got registered into a business school for a whole year. I didn't do any business whatsoever. It was a Christian business school. It was like a Bible school, but they had programs for dynamics of business. So for one whole year, I was in training because I needed to understand the dynamics of business within the Nigerian environment. So I was tutored most majorly by Mr. Emeka of trying to remember his business name. When I remember, I'll say it out. So, and he tutored me, right? And thereafter, so it was while I was in that program that the inspiration came upon me to start a furniture making company, to go into furniture making. Because when I came back, I was still volunteering with the design group I was in. And that was where it was just like fire just sparked one day. So while I was there, my project topic, or my project was with a furniture business. And on discussing with a friend of mine one day, and he was like, what do you want to call your business? I was like, I know how to craft and I love finishes. And, you know, it just came together and was like craft and finish interiors. And that was how, so we craft and we make sure we finish it. And that was how the name came into fusion. And from there, I just started finished the program. So I used my business as my case study in business school. So it gave me a little bit of, I was out of 18 of us in my class. I was the only one that had the business. I was the only one that had started the business of our projects. Most persons were ideas. You understand? Most persons were ideas. So when I came out, I had already started the furniture making business. I remember my first client, a friend of mine who works with EFCC, called me one day and was like, guy, are you still interested? You still make furniture? I was like, yeah. I still make furniture. And it was like they just transferred a new boss to their office, to their department, that the guy needed to revamp their office. And at that day I had just 500 naira and my phone in hand. I was so broke. I had just 500 naira and my phone in hand. And he was like, oh, okay, I should come to their office. That was on a Thursday. Got there, I paid the 500 naira was able to get me to their office. Went with my tape, took measurements, and right there and then drafted the quotation. I made calls to the markets to find out current market prices, draft the quotation, submitted it, and he was like, oh, he looked at it and was like, okay. So the next statement the boss will make was he just pulled out his drawer, brought out 80% of the money, and was like, Chris, you know who we are. You cannot run away from us. I mean, this is EFCC. Yeah, it was like, Chris, you know who we are. You cannot run away from us. I was like, I don't even intend running away. So that's 80, because I requested for just 60%, and he gave me 80% upfront. Upon the 80% mobilization, immediately I swung into action, going to the market, paid for the materials, got my okay, let me go back a little bit. All the while I was volunteering in that design team, there was a furniture workshop right beside my house, like about 2 poles from where I live. And every morning, like weekdays, when I had nothing to do, I'll just wake up, go there, sit down, and interact with the guys. I had patronized them sometime before when I moved to that area. So I needed a couple of things fixed in the house. So when I patronized them, I saw that, okay, these guys were actually working, as in I could work with them. So I always went to their workshop, sat down, interacted with them. I started asking questions. Not like I took a formal furniture making class. I didn't. In all of this, remember, I was solely focusing on craft making. Right? So when I have jobs, I just reach out to these guys. Guys, see, look at this. Can we do this? Can we do that? And they tell me, simple. They tell me the materials. That was where I learned bill of quantities on how to arrange a bill of quantity for a job, for an item, and all that. And going forward, my first job, when the guy mobilized, I just called one of the artisans, IK Alpha, CEO, this work has entered. He was like, okay, no problem. See. Oh, I went to the market, because before then I followed them to the market just to know 1 or 2 things. Went to the market, got the materials. We had just 48 hours. They wanted us to do this, start it on a Friday evening, finish on a Sunday evening, by Sunday evening, so that by Monday when they come to work, the office will be new. We had just 48 hours to complete the job. And by 10 p.m. Sunday evening, we were done. Cleaned up the place, kept the key where they asked us to keep it. By the time they came on Monday, you know, I was just waiting for a call, and the guy called me. I was like, Chris, nice job. I was like, okay, but we need to add this and that and that. And I was like, no problem. So I went back, did the same thing. The next Friday, moved materials to the office, there on site, did what we needed to do. Sunday evening, we were done, delivered the job. And he came on Monday, still called me. You know, I was like impressed at the speed and, you know, accuracy in which we got the job done. And immediately he was like, oh, they just rented a new apartment for me. I don't have a bed, no sofa, no furniture in the house.
Mhm.
How do we go about that? There and then, I gave a quotation for his own living furniture, and that was how this thing started.
Wow.
So sometimes, yeah, we found ourselves after making his own. People would assume maybe, oh, he just started getting better from there. No, after making his furniture, I spent the next 3 months celebrating that particular win. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Week in, week out, I will post the jobs, then post other ideas. You know, I started leveraging on my WhatsApp status on social media. Then Instagram weren't really Instagram savvy.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I leverage more on my WhatsApp status. Then I realized that, because even from my, even when we had, what was this other gadget, BlackBerry, when we used to post on the status in BlackBerry, I always, when I made some adverts and all that, people responded. So I knew, okay, I could leverage on my contacts, which was my first social capital at the point in time. I leveraged on them. I made those posts. A friend of mine who had moved, she schooled in Uniport. She had moved to Lagos, working in Lagos. One day reached out to me and was like, her sister is getting married. Their kitchen is in shambles. Her mom's kitchen is in shambles. That she remembers she has always been seeing me post furniture pictures, interior design pictures, you know, and all that. And what can I do for her? That was my second big win. And that was it. So from there, gradually, you know, I also was doing some sort of consultation on the side with this other lady I was working with. So while I was working with this lady, all the while I was working with this lady, I would post jobs. I'm talking, these other wins I'm talking about were my personal jobs that I did myself with craft and finish. But before then, we had been into interior designs and, you know, coming up with handling projects, and as the case may be, you know. So it was like, so what actually, moving back, pardon me, what really strengthened my resolve in going into furniture making was the government at the time, Goodluck Jonathan, right, had I think there was an embargo kind of on imported furniture.
I think I remember.
Yes, there was
on some goods, and I think imported furniture was among.
Yes, imported furniture was among. So, which gave rise to, okay, local manufactured furniture would be patronized, and I was like, okay, then I was aspiring to be. I was thinking, okay, I could be an interior designer, but the interior design market in Nigeria, if you were an interior designer in Nigeria at the time, hunger will kill you, you know. So you look for food and I wouldn't make a living, because a lot of persons seem to be like interior designers. You know, they go on Pinterest, go on you know, on the internet, see ideas and all that. So, but I felt, okay, the kind of things I liked in interior design, you know, the kind of things I liked in interior design, the kind of furniture pieces I would like to sell to my clients.
Mhm.
Why don't I start making them?
Them yourself, yeah.
You understand? Why don't I make them? And that was what, okay, I was like, okay, fine. You know, that was what drove me, inspired me more into furniture making. Right.
Mhm.
So with that, we just started getting better and better. And, you know, till I met a high profile client who I did a job for in Braz, in Bayelsa State,
Bayelsa, yes. Yeah.
where we had to travel on water for like 2 hours
Wow.
from Yenogwa. So that's one of the hazardous experiences I've ever had. You know, so we had to travel on water. Me, that I'm not used to, I don't know how to swim. So we traveled, went to Braz, did the job, delivered even before the target date,
Mhm.
and he was impressed at the level of finishing, and things just became exponential from there. And we started doing things. You know, his project was a full, from just handling the kitchen, we eventually did the entire house. It became our first major project, house project that we did, you know, in craft and finish. And from there, it just started getting better, you know. So with that, all this while, I had never raised funds, nothing, looked for source funds or anything. You know, I just kept on we just kept on growing with what came in,
Mm-hmm.
putting more money into, more funds into adverts, which was in form of social media, right? We did more social media marketing at the end of the day. So it was a model we were working with. And in 2020, during the lockdown, we got a job before the lockdown. Actually, we got a job in Asaba. I have one of my roommates is an architect. We came to do a project for him. While we were handling the project, the lockdown met us in Asaba. So my parents actually live in Asaba at the time. So in my moving around in Asaba, I now got my eyes now, you know, got open to the possibilities, you know, of the kind of furniture we make, right? And the level of finishing, the attention we pay to finishing. We realized that there was market in Asaba at the time. And another thing that my that was brought to my attention was that the real estate market, which is the base of furniture, of the furniture industry, right? It's the furniture industry is largely hinged on real estate,
Yes, because people
right?
have
Real
to
estate development, because
buy
you need to build,
property and build. Yeah,
you need to build before you can
yes,
furnish,
yes.
right? So those are the things you need to consider, right? So when I looked at I compared the furniture industry in Asaba and in River State at the point in time, I realized that Asaba was even the fastest growing city at the time. It was projected to be the fastest growing city in West Africa at the time. So I was like, oh, good, great opportunity. And the big wigs of furniture hadn't really come into Asaba. I realized that most people who were building in Asaba, who wanted quality finished furniture, always outsourced. They always went out of town and all that. So I was like, okay, fine. In the kingdom of the blind, let the one-eyed man become king, which spurred me to, you know, set up a structure, you know, makeshift structure, but, you know, following certain guidelines and all that. We set up the showroom with a workshop. I was able to pitch to my family members who now raised funds for me, co-investors, as the case may be. And we're able to get equipment and some tools. Brought some of my workers that I had gotten from Abuja, from Port Harcourt, and we started off. So we had a physical location in Asaba. All the while before then, I was using other people's workshops and all that. But when we came to Asaba, we now had our own workshop, our own a physical location, a showroom. And from then, we, as God will have it, we were blessed to meet clients, and we started growing from there. And up till now, this is where we are at this point in time.
That's incredible. That's incredible. If there's anything I've learned is turning your passion into making money.
Yes.
Yes, because sometimes we have passions and we how do I put this? Like, we feel like our passion doesn't suit the society we live in. So sometimes we abandon it and
we look down on it.
Yes, and focus on things that will just give us food. You understand?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I like the idea of you saying this is what I like to do and doing it, like not looking at because you also mentioned you had one or two, which always happens in the sense the first people to talk down on you are like your family people.
Yeah.
And one thing I've come to understand is that it's not coming from a place of resentment, but more like a concern. But sometimes they might not know how to like express how they feel that, it's not that we don't like, we are concerned. We want you to make it.
Yes.
And the ideology of making it is probably doctor, yes, engineer, yeah.
I've never been employed. I've never been employed. Okay. Not like I look down on employment. But because there was a stigma, one other thing most persons don't know about me, I graduated with a third class, right, in business education. And at the time, people always frowned at people with third class.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Even after going for my postgraduate diploma, people still, when you tell people that you came out with a third class, they'll be like, you go hard, you understand?
Yeah.
And when my dad talked to a couple of my relatives who he wanted them to employ me or look for something for me, when they ask him, what did he come out with? Third class. So I realized that my dad at some point wasn't really pleased. But I made it a point to be like, you know what, I've gone to school, I've gotten the degree, I've presented it to you. It's not like I did not waste your money. Your money won't be a waste. I am educated, right? Yeah. I made it a point to be, since I knew what I was doing, right? I knew I was educated. I wasn't an illiterate. There were circumstances that made me come out with a third class, yes. Right? Where you find yourself in an environment where you see people who you are smarter than, people you are brilliant than, more brilliant than, coming out with good results just because they go through a back door. I wasn't that privileged to have that kind of funds to go, go and do such things. That's why I was like, okay, I'll study to make sure I pass. I always went into my exam halls with what I have read. You understand? And because I didn't have the funds to boost it, as the case may be. I'm an average when it comes to being book smart. I'm an average book student. Yeah. So, but it's, my mom had always been an entrepreneur, right? Right from when I knew her. She had always been an entrepreneur. So we were streets, most of us in my family were kind of street smart, street business smart. Yeah. So we, that made me unshakable, right? That made me unshakable. I was like, it wasn't, unemployment wouldn't be my sort or my avenue to wealth.
Yeah.
You understand? So when I came out of school, I did a couple of things, but I, stumbled along the line until I had to like start intentionally. I started enrolling in entrepreneurship classes, seminars. Then when I got into that business, when I went to business school for that 1 year and was tutored, that's my tutor's name was Emeka of Oil Data. All Data Nigeria Limited. So he inspired me. He mentors me till today. He still mentors me, and I drew so much inspiration from his teachings, right, which has guided me till this day, right? That's kind of formed a foundation, some fundamentals for us. Yeah. So few things I knew then, few mistakes I made along the line, growing, which I am correcting now. So if I would want to inspire, or if I want to inspire an upcoming entrepreneur, I would always advise, I say, learn the sales and marketing of your business first. Learn to market your business.
That's nice.
Secondly, take notes of every expenses. Track your expenses. When you track your expenses, it will help you down to the least thing. Like, for example, in furniture making, there's no way you can track gum. There's no way you can track nail, right? Yeah, but
this is about for like 10 naira, like nail now, like 10 naira, yes.
So imagine when you buy a bag of nail and you have to make this cabinet and you just use like 5 pieces. Or how do you track that
what
nail?
is left?
You understand? So, but you need to come up with a system. You need to come up with a system on how to track your expenses, right? Because when you are outsourcing jobs, when you are using artisans to finish a product, you need to know the intricacies, what goes into getting that project done.
You can't do everything.
You can't do everything by yourself. And try as much for you to scale. Try as much as possible to distance yourself from the workshop. It's the same way they say to distance the farmer. For a farmer to scale, he needs to distance himself from the soil.
Because I think I heard something like that. The farther you are from the soil, the more money you make.
Exactly. So it's applicable, but you wouldn't know what to expect if you do not put yourself in the soil
first. Yes. Understand.
You understand?
Yes.
If you need to first of all get your hands dirty. You need to dig into the soil. You need to know your soil types. You know, for adventure, I'm also into farming. I just set up an agro-allied business, and I'm going through the mistakes I made before. I am applying my corrections in this new business. You understand? So, but in furniture making, right? No setup structure. Even if you are the only one in all the departments you have set up, but follow them to the T's, cross your T's and dot your I's in terms of tracking expenses, right? And be creative as much as possible. I got the name the furniture chef. I love to cook. I used to love to cook, right? Not like as a passion. I love to cook for myself. And I'd like to try out different recipes, right? I like to try out different recipes. And in furniture making, I found out that being creative, I started trying out different designs on a particular, it's like saying I want to cook jollof rice, but you have different recipes for making the jollof rice. Some persons add green peas, some persons add different ingredients, you know. So I see furniture making as like making food.
Culinary work,
As a culinary, because there's no one size, one recipe fits all. You understand? For example, we can come to this space. What works for this space might not work for the other space because of the dynamics of virtue of size and dimensions. So you have to work with what suits the space. And with an what's it called? With a background in interior design already and craftsmanship, it gives me that opportunity to, dabble, to play around with colors, play around with designs, shapes, and sizes. And that's one day I was just reading about something and I said, say this guy, he'd be chef. That was how I came up with the name, furniture chef. And being almost, this is 2025. And last year we were 7 years. I've been 7 years Craft and Finish started. I started Craft and Finish in 2017, and 2024 we celebrated 7 years. This year will be 8 years. And like the Bible, like they say, 7 is the year of perfection, and 8 is like for a fresh start. So for new beginnings, right? So we've entered a new era, right? We've entered a new era in our business life, where we are now doing things more systematically. We've grown. This first 7 years, we did all the experiments and all that, So I started intentionally setting up several departments. We now have a proper accounting department, where we track all our expenses, production costs, and all that. We have inventory and all that. So it's not, you don't just start business and sit back when the money starts coming in. You feel you've made it. I also advise young entrepreneurs to know that when money starts coming into your business, that's not the time for you to go and start buying land and building a house or something. Reinvest the money, the profits you've made back into because the business that gave you that lump sum can actually, with more money injected into the business, give you more of that money in return, right? So it's I found a couple of persons who have been into business for like 4 or 5 years. They make some money and they say, they don't want to be tenants. They go and invest their money into building a house.
That's a really wise idea. Because I've heard that as well. I actually feel delayed gratification is very, very important. Yes.
So they say they want to become their own landlords and all that, and neglect or ignore the business that has actually given them that money.
And then if you find the business struggling,
then years later they find the business struggling, right? After they've moved into that house, they find the business struggling and they begin to wonder if it's village people. No, your business has actually gotten to a point where it needs reinjection. So you need to reinject for you to scale. So it's one of the major problems or mistakes that young entrepreneurs make in our society.
Okay. Exactly. Thank you so much, Mr. Emeka Chris, the furniture chef. Yes, furniture chef. First of all, I really want to thank you for making our time to be with us here today.
Pleasure.
You guys have a social media page, right?
Yes, we do.
So we will. So I'm just trying to say that.
Okay, our Instagram. Yes, we're majorly on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
So our handle is at Instagram handle is at craft
and finish
_N
Okay.
underscore finish.
Okay.
That craft underscore n underscore finish. That's it.
Okay. Facebook.
That
Craft
for,
and
for Facebook is craft and finish.
Okay. That's craft. Then letter N.
Yes. N.
And then finish.
Yes, it's craft and finish.
Okay. So, and I'm guessing you guys work as in deliver nationwide.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We've handled multiple projects in different parts of Nigeria.
Incredible.
You know, so by the grace of God, our target is to, you know, majorly be in the eastern parts of Nigeria, because we discovered that most of our diasporans who want to build their houses in the east always wonder, how do they get people from Lagos to come and do that? And we're trying to make them understand that we are here. Asaba is just a stone throw to any part of the eastern, to anywhere in the eastern part of Nigeria. And that model, that marketing idea has been working for us so far. Yeah, and it's also working for the clients too, because they get their projects whenever they need after sales services. We are available instead of having to bring people all the way from Lagos again. We are available to offer such services as well.
Okay, so you've heard from the furniture chef himself, and in case you have any projects that you want to do, whether in any part of Nigeria, his name and Instagram bio and all his info will be in the caption below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.